Very good evening, everyone. Welcome into your box seat on this Anzac Day. Hope you've enjoyed the day. For those of you who had to work, we know in stables, etc., there's not too many days off. Hope you still got a chance to celebrate what is a very important day on the New Zealand calendar. Michael Guerin is back with us after last week's In Their Words show, which has certainly got a lot of comment around the country, which was its intention. As I say, a very good evening to you.
Yeah, hi Gregor, big hi to everybody. Hope you had a chance to commemorate Anzac Day before you headed off to work, if you work in a stable. A lot of comment, a lot of people have spoken to me about it. They enjoyed hearing a range of opinions from a range of people right around the country. And let's go back to last week and look at the diverse range of opinions and then talk about whether it provoked some thoughts in people like ourselves and you at home.
It's probably supporting mediocrity, which I'm not really a fan of. We've all got bad horses, but we need to really look after our good horses.
Shortage of horses in the north, I think down south probably working a lot better.
LASIK is a very controversial subject.
I'm for it, definitely.
I think without a doubt LASIK should be introduced.
The advice we're getting is no, based on the animal welfare issues.
Their professionalism, their trading model is unequalled.
You know, they do dominate and it is what it is, but they also bring in a lot of interest and a lot of revenue.
They are very clinical and they set a high standard.
I mean, it's a good and bad thing. I think, yeah, it's hard racing them, but yeah, it's probably a positive for the sport.
As a trainer, it's probably a bad thing trying to beat them, but I don't think it's a bad thing for the industry. Like, you can't knock success.
Look, I think as an industry we should be embracing champions.
I really think we've got the standing start process right.
We need to get all the starters in the country on the same page.
We need consistency up and down the country.
No, I think it's a wee way from getting right.
I'm happy with where the jewels are at the moment.
I think they should probably go to the main tracks.
It's turned into a hot potato.
So I love the jewels the way they are.
I think the whole Jules thing need an overhaul. It's getting a bit stale and you know, changes definitely needed.
If we're going to grow the sport, we need to be at the two major clubs.
Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did putting it together. A real diverse group of people with a whole range of answers there. But I reckon we covered a number of subjects that people wanted to hear about. The one that stands out the most is the All-Stars domination, and that's probably created the most friction, I suppose, around the show.
Yeah, and the Jewels is going to be really interesting heading forward. The meeting this week is around the future of the Jewels, April 28th, to decide whether they think it's going to stay at Ashburton and Cambridge. I think it'd be rough for them to make the Cambridge decision until at least after this year. But what it brought home to me, Greg, and I hadn't seen half those interviews because I did half them and you did actually more than half. So I hadn't seen the whole show put together, is often with the issues in racing, and particularly harness racing, we think there's one fix, and you at home probably do too. You think, well, no, it should be this. The handicapping system should be this. But then you see somebody who's a smart person and someone who's a successful trainer, and they have completely different opinions. And then you go, well, I respect both those people for what they've done, so I'm not saying either's wrong, and maybe they're half right. And harness racing New Zealand gets a lot of criticism for being inactive, not making things happen quickly enough. But when you see that range of opinions from 7 people and extrapolate that out over 400 or 500, 1,000 people in the industry and what they want from it, you can see how it's so hard to find the right middle ground. And middle ground is the ground nobody likes to be on because it doesn't get anything done. But with the handicapping system, for example, I had people tell me for a decade, points-based system's the way to go. And now, a lot of the same people who said that want to change the current system or go back to another system. Now, the same thing for the jewels. If you live in Ashburton, you want the jewels in Ashburton. But there's going to be people who say, well, that's not the right place for the jewels anymore. And there's probably arguments for both sides, Greg. So it's a nice view into the world of administrators because everybody wants what they want, but nobody's willing to give up other things. I'm having a really interesting discussion this week on Home Straight. We had the 4 bosses of the 4 codes sitting at this exact table. Now, it is tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock. And I asked them about track closures. Every person in this country thinks we have too many racetracks. Everybody wants to see some tracks closed.
Bar theirs.
Nobody wants to see their racetrack closed. My hometown track is Victoria Park in Greymouth, and when it was closed, I was sad. And it's exactly the same thing. We all know what we want, we just don't want it to affect us. And when you see that show last week, you can see how everybody has a different opinion on certain things, and it does make for a tricky industry to administrate. I'm not saying there shouldn't be more change, Greg, but I think
hopefully it started some conversations.
Well, it shows how complex the puzzle is.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing too is, I think part of changing is being willing to listen to people whose opinions you don't think are right. Like, for example, standing starts. There could be 3 or 4 different ways of doing them. Now, you and I have a view there should be no standing start tapes, but it doesn't mean we're right. And then there's other people who have other views on them.
No, you have that view. I'm not totally convinced that I want that view, but yeah.
Well, I definitely have that view, so my apologies for that. But if you're willing to listen to people, particularly at the moment when New Zealand racing is going to undergo such huge change, when you sit down like last week I did and listen to those things, you go, oh, okay, well, that's a pretty good point. Because otherwise, I find with a lot of people in racing at the moment, and I'm included in that group as well, if I don't believe in someone, or if I don't like somebody, I go, well, that's just rubbish. That's rubbish. You're wrong and I'm right. And then you sit down last week, you go, you know.
Maybe.
Exactly. Yeah. And that middle, as I said, that middle ground's a tricky place to be because it's not a very good place to get things done. But we're going to do it next year as well, hopefully, if the show's still going. Different people, different questions. But for those who did give us some feedback, it was nice of them to.
Yeah, we got a lot of feedback and probably as much, well, definitely.
How did you find it? Did you enjoy it?
I really enjoyed it. I sat down and watched it and I thought, gee, I didn't see that coming. Or we did get some people. Or some people come up to me at the races the other day and said, oh, you could have asked some smaller people and you could have, well, it's only one opportunity you've got. And we spread it right through the country and across variances from leading trainers through to...
And we did want to have a female on the show, but the young lady who we had jacked up to be on the show couldn't do it at the last minute, so that diversity wasn't there, unfortunately.
The one thing they wanted to talk about was the All-Stars thing, and if you spoke to someone who used to buy horses and now doesn't, they'd tell you why. Well, really? Who would that person be? Who would I go out and canvass to get their response from that? And there might be an element out there that think that way, but I think we had a pretty good cross-section of people.
And that takes us back to the other thing. There's going to be some people, according to the show last week, who think it's not a problem, and some people who think it's a huge problem. And maybe both those areas are up, but also what's right for one person is not right for another person. Was there anything you saw on the show last week that made you go, oh, I hadn't thought of that?
Not really.
No.
I've heard it all, Michael. I've heard it all around the tracks of New Zealand.
The one thing I think is going to be really contentious is the duals thing, because people...
Economics would say it goes to the major tracks, but the heart says it should be retained rurally.
Well, the interesting one is going to be if that's a split. If Harness Racing New Zealand decide that Ashburton is to go to Addington, and I have no opinion on that, that's a choice for them. But if Cambridge have a barn burner on June the 2nd...
What happens then?
And that doesn't go to Alexandra Park. That becomes a bit more tricky. And obviously we heard last night Carla's Pixel and Wobbly are now coming to the duels, added to Custodian. Very good chance Sheasel Rocks and Jilby Kung Fu come to the duels. All of a sudden, Cambridge are having a hugely successful big day, looking like it's going to be. And Ashburton don't have those geographical advantages. So that's good. If they split that vote, which I think they have to, but they can't decide on Cambridge till after this year, that's going to be really interesting. And as I said, there'll be people watching this at Ashburton, Timaru and Oamaruba going, well, hold on, I don't want you taking the duels away from Ashburton, and people from all over the country want to go there. And they're also right.
They'll need to vote with their feet if they do.
They're also wrong, exactly. So it's, as I said, thank you to all the people who watched last week, and thank you to all the participants who actually joined us and gave their opinions, because it's a tricky thing to do. A lot of people want to gun you down and get on Facebook and criticise people and stuff, but it takes a bit of courage to stand up and give your opinion.
Yep, enjoyed doing it. So what's ahead for you for the rest of our show? Of course, we'll go back to Alexandra Park Friday night. We had the Taylor Mile, the Anzac Cup, the Caduceus Club, some terrific racing there. We've got a shot of Bob Butt winning a race with the earplugs literally flying out, and Diamond Day will preview as well. So we've got a horse that won a 100th race too as the show unfolds. So let's get straight into Alexandra Park from Friday night. It was the Taylor Mile, and here's the start, Michael. Plenty of talk about what might happen. AG's White Sox, key to it. He was able to hold up the lead to the first bend. And Eamon Maguire, well, he went back to last, and you do not see this very often in Taylor Miles, and managed to get into the top two.
No, he was super. Ricky was really smart on AG's White Sox, held the lead long enough to make sure the horse coming up outside him, Anthony Butt, you knew wasn't going to hand up So handed to exactly the horse he wanted to follow. Here's how it panned out over the last 500. Star Galleria popping out of the 1-1. Eamon Maguire's coming very wide. Not a place you're going to win too many Taylor miles from. And AG's White Sox, well, once again, the passing lane at Alexandra Park, paved in gold.
White Sox passing lane. Here's Star Galleria opening up. Then came Better Joy. It's led it right. AG's White Sox. Star Galleria, Better Joy. Eamon Maguire flashing late, but AG's White Sox. AG's White Sox and Ricky May too good in the Taylor Mile. 2 minutes, 0.3. Photo second.
Congratulations, Ricky May. Second win in the race for you, and this horse has won 2 of his last 3, both at Group 1 level. That's how good he is.
Yeah, no, he's definitely got a big motor. I mean, he's not perfect all the time, but, you know, when you get a run like that, and, you know, I was surprised it went so quick, to be fair. He felt that good all the way.
Ricky, the key to it appeared to be at least you holding the front to the end of the back straight, and as it turned out, that was absolutely the result you needed.
Yeah, he went out just as good as the rest of them, which I thought he would, and, you know, that's sort of winning the race, to be fair.
Coming off the back, you're following the right horse, and those trying to come wide at that speed, it's incredibly hard for them, isn't it?
Oh, definitely, yeah, there's no doubt about it, and he was really travelling good, to be fair, and I knew, you know, with the run he had, he'd be hard to beat, to be fair.
Having won the Easter Cup over the extreme distance next week, we know that he's very, very versatile, so with the right sort of run, he could go back-to-back.
Yeah, no, he's right up there, but I mean, yeah, they're all pretty good, aren't they? And I guess the one that has the run will win it, yeah.
Congratulations to Rick, well done.
Thanks, Greg.
Maylan Banner, his other winner of the Taylor Mile, slowest of the last 5 years, but there wasn't a whole lot of pressure after the early burn to enable them to go anywhere near Mossdale Connors, who was also trained by Greg and Nina Hope, record of 1:58 1-mile rate.
And he won very easily. When you watch that video again, it's easy to make a case that Eamon Maguire was unlucky going back, and Star Galleria, who actually at the start couldn't get into his score-up position because the horse outside him was leaning down into his spot, which is very odd and might have changed the whole dynamic of the race. I'm not sure he would have got across the lead anyway, so maybe it didn't. But that aside, AG's White Sox they weren't catching him at the line or getting anywhere near him, so he's bolted it. You know he's going to be a factor now, Greg, in New Zealand Cups and Auckland Cups. He was already 5th in an Auckland Cup this year. So can he win those races? Well, open class racing next season, particularly if Lazarus is sold offshore, is going to be a lot weaker than it was this season.
Yeah, well, that was just his 8th career win, and of course when he won the Easter Cup it was his 6th. So it shows you the dynamics of open class racing in New Zealand has changed immensely, because horses that had won 5 races didn't win open class Group 1 races over any period of time.
Well, Jack's Legend ran 2nd in the Cup this year.
And he was at a similar level.
A 6-win horse.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
It has definitely changed. But look, he's going to be around for a long time, we would hope, and the Hopes again have a serious Group 1 open class horse. This week there's no reason to think he can't win the Messenger.
Well, he's got a great barrier again, barrier 2.
And he's got that gate speed, which is such a factor. Like, he never seems to be going very fast, AG's White Sox. So, look, he's going to be a real factor this week. Let's get the beatings, and then we'll have a look at the market for the Messenger, which came out this morning, and look at what the bookies make of last week's race.
Well, your first steer on him, I'm picking it won't be your last.
No, I'm sort of a bit of a fan of old Eamon now. Didn't know what to really expect. You know, we haven't had him very long. Graham's done a great job with him, and yeah, from the barrier and the way the race was run, you know, I just thought he was super.
What about next week then, and going forward to the Jewels, because we know he's got potent gate speed. There's plenty to like about the next month or 5 weeks.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. Coming off of that run, and you think, you know, like with the trip up and that, he'll be a bit better horse for next week. So, yeah, I just hope he sort of draws somewhere handy enough, and I think he'll be right in it.
Stephen, plenty of positives, but not getting where you hoped to at the start was probably the chance to win the race gone.
I think so, definitely, Greg, and I haven't had a chance to have a look at the sectionals, but I want to say that I'm happy with the run. He's come through the run real good, and I'm really just looking to turn the page and look for the Messenger next week.
Tim, what did you make of that performance?
Yeah, pretty good, Greg. Like the class horses, and he had his chance to win. He had a pretty good sectionals in front, but he's probably the only one in the race that did a bit of work early, and you know, I was encouraged by it, but he'd need to improve.
Yeah, and going forward to next week, you know, with the travel and that, he should be at least as good.
Yeah, well, it's his first run the Auckland Way and things like that, and they're great horses, you know, and you know, I think next week he'll go good again, and you know, just need a bit of luck on your shoulder.
mark in a speed race. He probably got one pair further back than you'd hoped.
Yes and no. I felt great turning in, and I thought he was going to sort of gobble up the leaders, but he just didn't. When I asked him, it just wasn't there, so a little bit of improvement required.
Yeah, interesting comments there. Tim Butt walked away from me after that interview and said, Greg, you know as well as I do, he had his chance. And he did let it ride.
Yeah, he did. He was too short for what he was in the market before the race. Hard to make the case. Here's the market for the Messenger this week, that AG's White Sox isn't the horse to beat again. Gate speed should potentially get to the marker pegs. Where things get tricky after that is Eamon Maguire's a very quick beginner.
Oh, he'll get across them.
Exactly, but I'm thinking if AG's White Sox, say it gets to the markers first, and Eamon Maguire gets across them, which you think he will, then do they hand him all the better? That changes the dynamic of the race enormously because AG's White Sox is 3 deep. If Eamon Maguire leads and stays there, AG's White Sox is the horse to beat again. So
where does Star Galleria get to in this scenario?
Gee, it'd be hard to go forward. It'd be really hard to go forward from there with all that gate speed inside him. So, look, I think there's probably 3 or 4 winning chances. More the better. Very iffy on that.
Yeah, look, he's 2 in and out for mine. He appears to go enormous one week and not so the next. He did it leading into the Easter Cup.
He's a very unusual horse for an All-Stars horse. Like, their Bettor's Delight horses just tend to just race at the same level all the time.
Yeah, he's not that horse.
He's very hard to find.
Yeah,
so.
He is.
One thing you know is that around Alexandra Park, 2,700 metres mobile at Group 1 level, marker pegs is the place to have to be.
Yeah, you couldn't say that
really hard to
he couldn't win it all the better, but just which one? I'm not convinced.
I'm still not convinced Eamon Maguire should be favourite. I think AG's White Sox has the record on the board. Would Eamon Maguire have won the Easter Cup? Maybe. Maybe not.
Dawson Harford Limited, New Zealand Messenger, 51st running of that very good Group 1 race. We will look forward to that. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll review what else happened at Alexandra Park on Friday night with a lead to this Friday. Anzac Cup, only in its infancy, 8th running it was this year, but a very, very good field was assembled. And of course, they'll go forward to the 100th Reharvest Row Cup this week. Lamond in front, Bordeaux, he hung like a cheap suit as we know, and Enhine, well, he got close, but not close enough.
Lamond, Enhine on the outside, Lamond and the Magic Man, Morris McHenry, Enhine can't reel him back, he'll go one better this year, Lamond is in, Enhine second, Harry de Mott third.
Tell us about the run you got. Led early, took a trail, and then down about the 500 metre mark, things started to get a little bit hairy out there.
Yeah, Bordeaux was just off the markers a bit, so I thought it would be better if Ricky was 3 wide around that last bend, and yeah, it worked out good.
Ultimately, that's, well, I wouldn't say it's the winning of the race, but it certainly aided your chances.
Yeah, he was going super then, so, and he's such a good stayer, so I was pretty confident then.
Couple of things. Ross Painter, he's done a fantastic job to get him back to his best.
He has, you know, he had a few problems early in the year, and they went back to basics, and they've got him real good.
What about winning a race in those colours, the CS Hunter colours, and it must be pretty special for you. You've won plenty of Group 1 races and trotting races to boot, but to win one for him with this horse must make it pretty special.
Yeah, Charlie and I have had a little luck with Sovereignty and now this fella, so yeah, he's always got a nice trotter, so it's good to drive for him.
Yeah, and particularly, you know, when he's done everything you could do on the track in so many ways, and to still be winning races, you're right with Sovereignty, but to get another one is, you know, very special.
Yeah, it is, and yeah, this fella, he's got a lot of potential.
All right, what about the Row Cup next week, the ultimate extreme distance? What do you make of that?
Yeah, well, he's a lovely stayer, and it's right up his alley, really, so if he's all in one piece, he'll go good.
Yeah, he was placed in this race last year and went on to the Rowe Cup. He's clearly in the right zone, but when we put up the market, Michael, we'll see he hasn't got the right draw for this week.
No, it doesn't look a great draw, but it's also a race where there could be a few gallopers. It's not a race where there's a lot of horses you go, wow, I absolutely trust him. Ingheim was the unlucky horse last week, and Le Monde was excellent. I backed him. I was thrilled to see him win. Always happy to see Charlie Hunter and the family win because Charlie's such a good guy. And Ross Painter's a really good guy.
Group 1 winning trainer now.
A lot of people wouldn't know Ross, but he's very, very knowledgeable about trotters in particular. And he's come through a good apprenticeship. Charlie would do some of the work with this horse. Charlie, of course, one of the few people to ever win the Inter-Dominion Trotting Championship and Pacing Championship in the same year. But I thought the horse was in the zone. He's going to need to be further in the zone to win over 2 miles this week from the second line. He's going to have to come 3 wide. But I think he's that much in the zone, Greg, and there's not many horses here you could say were running on well enough to make you want to back them, that outside Ingheim and Speeding Spur, maybe Harriet Mott, but she's hard to trust. It's hard to make a case for many others.
See, there weren't many running on that you thought, wow, that was a good Rowe Cup.
No, I totally agree. And
Temporale, where's he?
I think Temporale's fantastic on the speed, 1, 2 or 3, but I'm not sure he's mature enough yet. And he'll mature a lot more. He's still a very young horse to be just stomping down the outside and beating horses coming 3 or 4 wide. So Le Monde's a chance this week. Ingheim was outstanding because obviously we didn't see in the video there, Bordeaux ran up at the back straight, pushed him out. Ingheim a month ago might have galloped. The fact he didn't gallop there, Greg, was crucial. So let's hear from the beaten drivers, then we'll look at the market for the 100th Rowe Cup this week.
Well, race pattern-wise, it appeared you moved at the right time, but you couldn't have worked out that Bordeaux was going to do that about the 500.
No, it definitely cost him, Greg, because I'd have been up beside Bordeaux and in front of the winner, but hey, he still went massive really to be 3 wide around the last bend when he shouldn't have been.
Yeah, going forward to the Rowe Cup, the extreme distance, we know that won't worry him.
No, he felt really good trotting this way around, to be fair. He trotted good early and I was pretty wrapped with the way he went.
Well, Brad, she's got another cracking race.
Yeah, really honest mare, Greg. Tries her hard out. Had a nice enough run tonight and capitalised with a nice wee 4th.
Well, he wasn't as tractable as he normally is.
No, he wasn't, Greg. He warmed up terrific too. I was really, really happy with the way he warmed up and felt good early and tried the bends really good. He was trying the straights any good, which is usually a little bit crabby on the bends here, but yeah, he just really lost his rhythm down the back and never really got going again after that.
So I was hoping he'd get a front row draw, Bordeaux. He's obviously going to have to race a lot more tractably because his 2 mile record is very good. He won a good race in this last year, I think, and he's finished 4th twice in the Dominion. The thing against him at Alexandra Park is he's never won there.
Well, I just can't back him on last week. I mean, there's no reason to be running up
in a straight
line.
Mm.
And I said to Dexter as he saw, he said, I don't think he saw. So it means he's just being a dick. So, I mean, I'm not sure that's a technical term. I mean, Filippigo spends a lot of time with his horses and he'll try and fix the horse, but who knows what's up with him. As I said, Ingheim was fantastic and he's favourite for the Rowe Cup. I can't take 220 standing start. He hasn't been in the stand for the last couple of runs. I just can't take 220. So then you start saying, well, what else do you want to do? Speeding Spur could potentially lead, which would make him hard to run down, but 420's close enough to the mark for him. He was making ground last week, but he wasn't sensational. Harriet of Mott can win. Le Monde can win. I'm sure Temporale can win if he gets handy enough, but it's one of those races, Greg, where logic suggests Ingheim's the horse to beat, but it's tight enough. And at the moment, I don't want to bet into this market, but you could make a very strong case that Le Monde at 820 is at least value for a horse who's won its last 2. And while it's easy to think, oh, it's going to have to come 3 wide and do a lot of work, 2 mile races sometimes throw up anomalies. But what did you make of it?
Yeah, I'll be tipping Ingheim, but that is extremely short to be backing him.
Well,
with
Particularly the
variables
front
around him.
line being what it'll be. There's a lot of horses there. And
Well, temporarily, the
they can
8 off the
stuff
front.
around.
So with the scratching, if the ballot comes out, which is Charlemagne, he'd be the outside. So in Hind, there should be a little bit of room there, but yeah, I'll still be tipping
Also,
it.
it's a tricky place. I mean, the 3-2 Standing Start is the top of the straight, and there's people and mucking around it. There's all those big construction sites, which we'll talk about soon. So if you're going to gallop at Alexandra Park, you will gallop from the 3-2, which is also the 2-2 Standing Start point, in a big field, horses behind you. As I said, at $4, yep, you jump on and feel confident. I still think he'll probably win the race, but you find with these Group 1s, if the smallest thing goes wrong, you don't tend to win.
No, agreed.
Yeah.
Speaking of a Group 1, Caduceus Club for the 2-year-old fillies, always a pretty sought-after classic, and this was again, it was an All-Stars trifecta, and Tiffany, well, she just keeps on winning.
Kayla Marie goes to the lead though from Bubbled Up. Princess Tiffany extends into the hopples. Princess Tiffany, Natalie Rasmussen, and she remains unbeaten and backs up her nice win in the Young Guns final here with the Group 1 Woodland Stud Caduceus Club 2-year-old fillies classic.
Natalie Rasmussen, record in this race now. The third time you've saluted, and this ultimate professional, she just keeps on winning.
Yeah, I think, Greg, that's just, she is just the complete package as a little 2-year-old. She's got that good bit of speed and just beautiful manners, so you can place her wherever you need to, and she's sort of, and she's been lucky, she has been drawing good.
And they were humming early. You then worked your way to the lead, and you were pretty comfortable with taking the trail too. That's her tractability.
Yeah, that's right, Greg. Yeah, I did that little bit early, and I knew the other filly, was quite strong, so she'd get her definitely to the sprint lane. So, yeah, this one, she's very, very fast. I sort of was a bit worried top of the straight, sort of Blair had got away a bit. But credit to this little one, she just picked up and she's so genuine and professional.
Yeah, Kayla Marie got a wee way in front, so I suppose there were some nervous times there, but yeah, she just keeps on winning and doesn't seem to be any sign of that not continuing.
No, well, we'll wait until she draws bad and then we'll see. So, no, she's just been very fortunate with draws. And Kayla Marie on the opposite, she's just kept drawing bad. So, no, this one, she went great. I couldn't be happier. And the Whitelocks, of course, involved in both of them. So getting a Quinella at Group 1 level, that's a great result for them too. Oh, wonderful result to have bred them. Yeah, fantastic for them. Well done. Thank you.
And would you believe she's come up with barrier 3 this week in the Magnus Benroe Sire Stakes final. So her run of draws continues, and Kayla Marie drew the outside second row. So, but let's concentrate on this race,
Well,
Michael.
it's impossible to
Well, you couldn't
back against.
You couldn't back against her this week.
She might be a really, really good filly, but we just don't know because we haven't seen her have to be a good filly. She was excellent sitting parked in the Delightful Lady Classic, but...
What about what happened to her in her prelim, Michael? Talk me through this.
I'm not sure it happened in the prelim, so I can't say
Well,
that's
Natalie
true,
told me
but
that
Natalie
she's
thinks
pretty
it did.
convinced it did.
Natalie thinks it did. So what happens for those who haven't caught up with the news is that after the race, Princess Tiffany was found to have a nail, and it wasn't a horseshoe nail.
A builder's nail.
A builder's nail in the frog, which is that triangular pointy bit underneath a horse's hoof. So Natalie thinks that happened in the prelim, and obviously she'd be the best person to know. And the initial fear from everybody is because there's 2 large construction sites at Alexandra Park is that the nail would have come from there. Now, Alexandra Park are very confident it didn't. Now, they're going to say that, aren't they? But at the moment, that building site is at that metal bolts sort of level. There's not a lot of
nails.
There's not a lot of wood there. And it is
There's a lot of concrete, Michael.
Yeah, it is a lot of concrete. And it's about 8 or 9 metres back from the track. Now, a nail could fly that far, for sure. But they are more inclined to think, Alexandra Park, that they relayed the top of the track last week, that the nail was in there somewhere. They have had a metal detector around the track 3 times this week, and they're confident that there's no more nails on the track, which is good.
They've also gone out to the float park.
Yeah, stabling area and the float park and made sure this is all being taken care of. So it's most unfortunate. And crucially important is, the most important thing in the game is human safety and then equine safety. And this is not good. But I'm not going to jump up and down about it if it's a one-off event where one nail's got into a
It happened to a horse at Todd Mitchell's a long time ago.
But that was before the construction sites were in play.
Yeah.
So
a couple of years at least. Yeah.
What it does raise the question is, once that building site or building sites do get to the level where a lot of nails are being used, when they start, putting in all the things that go into a building, when you're walking in the city and you have a large building site, you do have those mesh covers on the outside of them to stop stuff going onto the road. I would suggest Alexandra Park may need to look at that. because you can't afford to have things on the racetrack for obvious reasons. And I think they would look at doing that, but it wasn't good. It's one of those things which you hope is only a very small thing which won't ever happen again.
The great thing is she's in this week.
Yeah, she's in this week, but it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. But if it did come in the crusher dust they put on top of the track, well then there's not
well,
really
it's half an act of God.
Exactly, there's
really
not really a lot you can do about that. And the fact that this horse happened to find it, and particularly the horse who won the race, also punter confidence comes into that. You know, you can't have horses standing on nails and prelims and that. So the whole thing was bad. The results were as good as they could be under the circumstances, and maybe it's a wake-up call for everybody involved, which raises the question from now on, when you put top on a track, should you have to run a metal detector over top of it to make sure there's nothing in there?
It's a fair call. Beaten drivers, here's what they had to say behind Princess Tiffany.
Well, she's not big in stature, but the way she dashed away, she was very brave.
Yeah, she's only a little girl, Greg, and, you know, just got a great will to win. And, you know, she gave her all, and, you know, unfortunately we found one better, but, you know, she's a cool wee horse.
Well, I'm sure she made a bit of an impression on you.
Oh, she did, Greg. You know, she went very good. She tried hard, and 242, and she's gone in there as being a maiden, beaten by a couple of nice fillies. So, yeah, very nice filly.
Well, just her second start, she's gone a very good race.
Yeah, 242, you know, hey, she got a good run, but she was gutsy in it too. She wasn't far away and keep coming all the way to the line, so you've got to be pretty wrapped with that going forward, and I think she's a filly that will get better. She's quite big, so once she grows into herself, she'll do a really good job.
Mark, it was never going to be easy from that wide front row barrier draw, but in some ways she probably didn't help herself.
No, just hung a little bit too bad, and certainly be better for the experience, but from that outside draw it was just too tough.
And I see the blinds have gone on her this week for the Sire Stakes. What about Ponch from Chips there, a la Zachary Butcher? Well, those glasses, what's going on there?
Some people are too stylish for their own good.
That's good coming from you.
Stop it. $1.18 this week. Look, it's impossible to make a case against her. Plenty of depth there and plenty of value in the markets, particularly for place dividends for horses like Bubbled Up and Have Time. And
I was expecting
Ruby
more
Rose.
from Ruby Rose, and she's got a similar draw again.
She ought to be the first horse to go to Alexandra Park and start hanging and not have a clue what she's doing. When those baby horses get out of their comfort zone, they just lose all
the plot.
Form.
Yep.
It's really interesting. The markets are open for some of the jewels, and Princess Tiffany, this market's not open, but she will open very short. And the irony is, as Nat mentioned earlier, if she draws the second line, that's going to be a real test for her. Like, any horse going to the jewels has one chance in 3 of drawing the second line. So all of a sudden, if you're going to take $1.50 Princess Tiffany when that market opens, you're saying to yourself, well, hold on, she draws the second line, or she draws outside some of these other horses. It's going to be awfully hard to keep that winning record going, because it's going to be very draw dependent for those next couple of starts.
Northern Trotting Derbies this week. Key lead-up race for it, of course, was last week, and it was the Sire Stakes. And, well, here comes a pretty talented trotter. Had to sit parked at Winterfell and did this in the end. Pretty brave was Majestic Man, but Winterfell dashed away here. And on that performance, and now with the way the barrier's fallen, with barrier 1, then, wow, he's going to be very hard to beat.
He reminds me a lot of a horse who was owned by the same owner, and Trevor Casey and Stent. Stent was quite a new and floppy type of a 3-year-old. He wasn't a strong, dominant 3-year-old, but he was very, very good. As Nat says there, he's pretty green, big guy, and that pretty much sums him up. A lot of raw talent. So I don't think he's as good as Luby Lou at the moment, but this week that won't matter, because Luby Lou isn't going to be in this race. Got barrier 1.
Well, Majestic Man will get across it at the start.
You would think so.
Because he's very fast.
And that gives him, hopefully, the trail for those who take the short odds about.
And I know it's not as easy when you're drawn alongside, but geez, fast. You saw that at the start in this. He just cruised across.
Well, Winterfell on the home bend there.
Look at him there.
You thought to yourself, you know, maybe he's under pressure, but he wasn't. Natalie was just looking after him.
And just got him round that last bend.
And then he just bolted it. And he races like a horse where 2,700 metres is going to suit him. Very hard to make a case to bet against him this week. Majestic Man also equally hard to make a case that he's not clear second pick, and a great place bet in the race. Interesting news coming out last night that last season's champion Australian juvenile Wobbly, and being the champion Australian 2-year-old trotter often isn't a very important thing. but Wobbly's a good horse.
He won 12 in a row?
And a really good horse. And a great story. So with Luby Lou and Winterfell and Wobbly and Majestic Man, all of a sudden the 3-year-old trot is stacking up as a really, really good race. So I'm not sure this horse will be a natural miler, but who knows, his improvement curve has been so steep so far that maybe he could get to the jewels as the horse to beat. But I'm still thinking Luby Lou might have a touch more
speed anyway.
High-end class. But for those who don't know the Australian horses, Wobbly's as good as these horses, or was so far. Whether ours move on with it from all this compacted, hard racing they're having at the moment, well, that tends to be the case. So it's good to have him here, though. Look, what do you make of it? Wobbly, I mean, Chris Alford.
It's great. It's great to have him here, and I'm sure that they'll make an impression. Barrier draw is going to be crucial. Let's hear from the beaten drivers to see if they can encourage you in any way to think that Winterfell might get beaten this week.
Well, he's lived right up to what you guys thought he was capable of.
Yeah, we did expect a good run from tonight, Greg. I think he is better going the Auckland way. He felt really nice and comfortable in the running. Probably the best he's felt this time in, so we're happy, but yeah, the other one was too good tonight.
Yep, look, did plenty of work early too, but stepping up to the Derby distance, that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, he does have a lot of gate speed, Greg. You know, tonight's the first time I've actually let go of him out the gate, and he does have a really good gate speed, so it is something that he can use. If he gets a good draw, hopefully next week, then we can use it again.
Well, she ended up getting a pretty good run for the second half of the race and found the line nicely.
Yeah, she got to follow the right one, Greg. She did find the line really nice. Just would have liked to see if she got around that last bend a bit better and where she finished up, because her last 150 was really strong.
Is that going to be the key to next week's Derby? If she can get in on the markers, it'd certainly help her.
I think so, yeah. Probably just a minor gear change with her to help her next week. But yeah, she felt terrific and went a good race.
Well, he's come a wee way, hasn't he?
Yeah, he went really good tonight, Greg. You know, he's only new. He's only had 5 or 6 starts, and he's going to be a good horse in another sort of 3 or 4 months with a bit more ring craft.
Yeah, look, the way he found the line up to the 2,700 metres, shouldn't be no problem there.
Yeah, I think the distance will be fine, you know. Yeah, he's got speed, and if he can stay, he'll be a live place chance next week.
Had a great getaway, of course, herself, placed in a harness jewels. Here's Winterfell, $1.35, Majestic Man, $5.50. Pretty predictable stuff here. Is there any chance Renesmee might have a look early? Wouldn't have thought so. Oh, you reckon it'll just go markers here? Maybe 2 over the 1 and then the rest?
Which gives, you know, Majestic Man a great each way chance, because if you're in front with what appears to be no major attackers, he's going to get things his own way. Winterfell will probably beat him, but at $5.50 you could roll the dice and have your little $20 on Majestic Man and have a reason to yell at the television.
Yeah, well, the situation here, Michael, was Sunday Sun not going like it was at Cup time when it brilliantly won the second to last race on Cup Day. Valeria, who won the Hambletonian, not going as well, so they're not going to be moving. So
and Luby Lou's not there. So
I think it's a straight out 1, 2, 3. I can't see any other result unfolding here.
Yeah, I don't mind Majestic Hurricane over 2,700 metres. I think he might get into the race.
Well, he ran 4th in the Derby at Addington, of course.
So he's maybe, but the worst thing is you watch the barrier draw there, you think he's starting for 1 on the second line, but he's not. He's unruly, so he's starting in the middle of the second line. So I really enjoyed last Friday night. I think this Friday night will be heaps better. And there's just enough about some of those races, well, the 2 big ones, the Messenger and the Rowe Cup, to give you some doubt. And that's mainly around the start. Sort of races, Greg, you'd love to be betting with a lap to go.
Yep, you certainly would. As we go to a break, Addington was Friday night too. We'll have a look at a couple of their races soon, but this sport new meaning to the words when the plugs came out. Bob Butt with ice, and they literally flew out.
With ice coming quickly though, with ice has gone to the top, put half a length, now a length on weight for success, and with ice has single, length of the quarter, with ice has second, weight for success, Hickey Nova in third, fourth in weight for
And your box seat continues. Now, we would have opened the show with a horse called Distrauss, who's been on the show quite often because he is Glenn Bourne's favourite horse.
He's been everywhere quite often. He's had 450 starts.
Now he's had 100 wins.
Yep.
Well, that's nothing short of...
He actually had 100 wins beforehand, but he got one taken off him for having a positive.
Right. Okay, so he's had 101 wins now, but we're going to celebrate his 100th win here. The remarkable thing was he's 14. He's rated 157.7 here. It almost defies belief, doesn't it?
Well, there are stories like this when you go back over the years. The most recent 14-year-old winner I can think of was about 20 years ago when Idle Scott won.
Yeah.
Beat Pride of Petite in a mile race at Cambridge. And you do find with the older horses, it's funny. You would think they would be better stayers, but often they are better milers because the old bodies can handle the short distances. That was the case with Idle Scott when he was 14, and that's the case with Distrauss. He's been all over the place. Started with Jeff Small, bred by the Phillipses in New Zealand. Started with Jeff and spent a fair bit of time here. He's bought Astraios, the late Astraios, who didn't leave much of an impression on the Australasian industry. Went across there. He spent a lot of time in Queensland. He went down to New South Wales and.
He's been around.
Now he's in Tasmania.
Sounds like Michael Guerin's life.
100, I think he tries harder than I do. 100 wins, race wins, is a huge deal. And it's kind of cool. You sort of hope that maybe he'll be retired eventually. But also some of these older horses, Greg, and you know this from having horses at home. Some of them don't
obviously loves being in work.
Some of them don't want to be retired.
Yeah.
Some of them sulk when they get to the paddock. So especially in Tasmania. So there's nothing else to do there.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It's a great story, and I'm glad you got
only
there.
stopped that there. Right, back to Addington Friday night. A couple of good races there were. Sire Stakes Heat and another masterpiece. He continues.
I haven't seen this race yet because we were working the other day.
He was pretty good. A better act in front.
Is he just better than a better act?
I think so. A better act goes to the Diamond Creek Classic at Diamond's Day down there at Invercargill on Sunday, but he just sprints very good. He's just a real professional.
He's a hard horse to follow, a better act, isn't he? Because the best version of him, when he's unlucky, you go, oh, he'll just beat these horses, and then he doesn't.
That was Heisenberg getting through on the inside too, but yep, the professionalism of the Welcome Stakes winner was to the fore again, and he was simply too good. 55.4, 26.6, the Addington track is flying at the moment. So another masterpiece, the Garrard Sires Stakes. It was heat number 4.
What about Better Joy? Wasn't she good?
Well, she drew wide. She had already won a heat of the series. That's why she drew the outside, of course. But Sam Otley drove her, and Michael, she couldn't have been more impressive than this. This took some doing, running down the runner-up from the Northern Oaks.
Is coming after it. The inside Better Treks. Better Joy's gone to the lead. Lady Shadow's running on well. Delight in Me still there. Better Joy's in front of Delight in Me, and Better Joy beat Delight in Me. Lady Shadow, an impressive return from Australia.
10 from 21 now, so the same Quinella as the Forbury Park heat, but a pretty much more decisive victory by her. She's back in the zone, 55.6 mile rate. She's a lovely horse, and well, she's going to give others plenty to think about, Ali Mack being the most logical, with the Neville-Yar and the New Zealand Oaks at this track.
Good to see Sam get on a horse like this from a total outside stable, because it's a good reward for how consistently good she's been for a long time this season and seasons before that. This whole group's going to get far sexier coming up, because Ali Mack we know is really good. Sorry, Ali Mack we know is really good, but She's All Rock, who is favourite for the Victoria Oaks this week, is at least as good as our fillies.
She won the New South Wales, didn't
I'm
she?
absolutely convinced she is. And she'll join the All-Stars. So she would be in the New Zealand Oaks, providing everything goes well and travel and that sort of stuff works out, and then would either be invited as an Australian to the Jewels, or she might win a way into the Jewels via the New Zealand Oaks. Probably second might be good enough to get you there. I think Ali Mack and Better Joy are both very, very good fillies. Add that unknown component for some people of She's All Rock, and maybe even Soho Burning Love. And these 3-year-old fillies could actually be close to the most interesting, exciting racing we have for the rest of the season.
And you've already mentioned Cambridge, how important it's going to be for them.
Well, 100%. Take Ali Mack, who's obviously a really good horse. You put her on the second line at Cambridge, over a mile, with Better Joy and She's All Rock on the front line.
Well, what they won't be catching.
Her real odds are $5.
Yeah.
And she's $1.50 or 60 or something at the moment. Yeah. And reverse the barrier draws, it's exactly the same thing. So the depth we're now starting to see in some of these races with the unknowns of the potential Australian interest, just makes it more interesting, Greg.
Yeah,
because, as I said, particularly with that, you have one chance in 3. I'll draw in the second line.
Rangiora on Sunday, their big day, classic day, strong fields throughout the afternoon and a flying Ultra Orlando. He's been a remarkable horse, of course. Place in the sire stakes at 3. Suspensory issues meant that his career was pretty much curtailed until he went to the Dunbarn at the beach, and he's now won 2 of his last 3, and he's just been fantastic. They were about 3:10. Which wasn't the quickest. That's Buster Brady dashing into 3rd. No hopples on there, of course, for Jock Austin, but a Robert Dunn trained at Quinella here. Billy Badger was the horse that finished 2nd, and Delishka into 4th goes to effectively a Country Cups final on Diamond Day on Sunday, 35 metres behind.
Yeah, and Delishka obviously will head forward to the Jewels too, so her form is stacking up nicely once she gets back to the Mare's grade. Geez, a brave old horse. I thought he was past it about 2 months ago. I thought he'd had enough, but who knows with those older horses. Maybe there's a few tricks you can do to get him on the beach or work in different.
And he had to come from the outside of the second row.
Which is not easy to do at Rangiora.
It's not.
Billy Badger's obviously kicked on a fair bit. I think he's a horse, again, I was starting to not believe in about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, Dexter's found the key to him.
Yeah, and he's gone forward. So, look, he's probably going to have a bit of fun going forward. Ultra Orlando, you would suggest, after about another month, they might struggle to find good races for him through the winter. But he's done enough now to suggest you would have a crack at a New Zealand Cup. So probably couldn't win it if you could have a crack at it. Just on them, just talking about Buster Brady, why do they put the hobbles on and off all the time? Is it to keep him mentally
from a stand,
awake?
have him in hobbles. Not from behind the mobile, no drama. Yeah,
there you go.
That's why.
Now
that's why when he went back to the Easter
know.
Cup, Jock said, I'm not going to risk him galloping away without the hobbles on. Qatari Downs 3-year-old, that's Tony and Gay Abel. Of course, Tony, a former president of the Metropolitan Trotting Club. This is a New Zealand record time for a 3-year-old. Tennyson Bromack.
Remarkable, wasn't it? And look, I was sort of surprised he didn't start favourite in this race, but Tim drove him beautiful, pulled out the 1-1 and took him a while to get there, but you always knew he was going to.
Yeah, I think Nandolo's going to be a fair horse. That's only his 3rd start. He won on debut at Kaikoura, but yeah, it was a really good performance. Hundy got held up just a little bit, and he was pretty brave too. So yeah, there's some pretty exciting 3-year-olds just below the absolute top echelon.
Although those horses like Tennyson Bromack, who you then start thinking to yourself, if I own it, what do I do with it? Because you probably, and sometimes it changes, but you probably don't think he's going to win. You know, there's no derbies left here, but even
he's only won about 30,000.
Exactly. So you think to yourself, if someone rocks up and says here's 150, and this is a conversation you have all the time with people. Oh, people sell horses and stuff, but if someone says here's 150k, tax free.
Hard to turn down.
Oh, it's very hard to turn down. And over 2 or 3 years in his career, he would probably win that. But 2 or 3 years of your career can cost you $60,000 to win it. And as you know, money in the hands always great. So he's a perfect example of the conundrum of those really good second-level 3-year-olds, because everybody wants them. The other question is, Greg, if you do take the money and you're a consistent buyer at the sales, are you only going to take it and go back to the sales and try and buy another version of him? Which would be hard to find. So
yeah, would be. Back to Forbury Park on Thursday night. Brian Norman, congratulations to you, Brian. First 3 races on the program. He trained the winners of. Here's the first of them. Was Glendu Gem. Dexter got a brace with What a Razzle Dazzle. That was in race number 2. So there's the first of them back at the head of the field. Nathan Williamson continues on his winning way. Here's Dexter with What a Razzle Dazzle. And, well, it won pretty comfortable in the end. Here's one of those big, what do they call them? Father Christmas things? Or?
Harbour Bridge.
Yeah, Harbour Bridge. Yeah, I think that's what they call them. You're right. And the other one was Eastern Fox Glove, which he's had plenty of the Eastern horses.
How many horses would Brian Norman have on with?
Look, I don't know exactly, but I wouldn't imagine it'd be more than 10.
Well, it's a hell of a performance. Well done to you, Brian.
Maybe more. I'll probably get told.
Look, I don't think I've ever met Brian, unless I was in Southland one time and I was drinking and I don't remember it. But
which is a real possibility.
It's a hell of a performance. 3 wins from anybody ever at a race meeting is a big deal. A treble is remarkable.
Yeah, good on. Well done.
Yeah, it's cool. And as I say, I don't know how many horses he has at work, but it wouldn't be a massive team, so congratulations to him. What about the whole Dexter thing? He's won 2 races there, and every time I look at a race meeting, he's winning races, and he's still not getting any closer to Blair.
Still about 30 behind. Mind you, Blair drove 6 seconds on Saturday. I don't know that anyone's won. Yeah, he did, but I don't know that that's happened before. I could be wrong, but I doubt anyone has won the Drivers' Challenge without winning a race.
No,
Old Mr. Second, they're starting to call.
So.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll take a break because when we come back, massive week ahead in your harness racing world. Of course, Alexandra Park holds the key, but there's race meetings all over the place. Stateside action was on Sunday, of course, with the Kiwis. Stop laughing, Michael, because we had a great success there. This was the matchmaker final, and of course, Grant Crabb. Well, he not only bred this horse, qualified it, got sent to Dean Braun, and this is what it did. Trifecta for the Kiwis was Celibate and Modu Moonbeam in third.
Much the best in the Blue Chip Matchmaker Series final.
What that people don't realise is that took about 4 or 5 takes to get that, so I'm not stopping now. Well, it wasn't a debacle for Grant Crabb because his horse now's won 8 of 10. Oh, good. Michael, would you control yourself? We're trying to do a show here. Moving to Diamond Day on Sunday.
No, we're not.
We'll get there in a minute.
No, we're not.
Because we're talking about Addington. Thursday night, $25,000 fast track insurance pick 6. Professionalism. Michael, you're on every show. Come on, 5:26 the start time there at 10. Great night, Alexandra Park. Looking forward to being there with this fella. Hopefully stop laughing by then. And Craig Thompson. The big fish will be there, 5:55. The 10 race card there. We've got an early quaddie to boot. Then we head south to Ashburton, 10 race program there on Saturday, 11:50 to
By the way,
start
that's the Legends catch up. All the old boys. And
yep, getting together. They did it last year. Great fun.
Should be huge. Good luck
this
to you, fellas.
is a big meeting. $5,000 bonus early quaddie and late quaddie, $25,000 pick 6 there. Diamond Day, we're going to preview that. And Palmerston North will be underway in the afternoon on Tuesday. So this is Diamond Day we want to have a decent look at, or Diamonds Day as it's called, because the club have put a whole lot of work in behind this. They've got 3 races at 45,000. They've effectively got a Country Cups final we've already talked about with Delishka, but yeah, they have to be applauded for some of the work that's gone on behind this.
Great stakes, $45,000 for both the age group races. I'm not entirely sure they've got the depth I thought they would get for some of these races. There's not as many Cantabrians. One I know you're really keen on is DeBarber, who's going down there for the Southland Oaks. And it does look her race to lose because there's not many horses here with strong Addington form, but DeBarber is one of those who does have it. And
she beat Swamp Major here, and I do rate him.
What odds would you take for the Oaks?
Off the second row, you would still think close to $3, and if that happens, then I think she'll be winning, and well, I'll be backing her anyway, but I think she'll be winning, so $3 would be nice. Bookmakers, if you could do that for us.
A better rack to win the 2-year-old?
Yeah, I'd say so. Again, the depth of that race, I expected a few more. Mark Jones has taken one down there, but
I think the time of the year is tricky because so many trainers have horses at Alexandra Park, and it's hard to be 2 places at once if you're travelling and also having horses in Canterbury. You need to be working at 3 destinations.
The Supremacy's been a race that's been sought after by many trainers
over
the years.
It's been a great race.
Well, Changeover won it, of course, and he went on.
The other problem is the Jewels were in the North Island this year. So, for example, if you're in Canterbury and if you've got a horse up to the North Island, you'll be looking to stay at the Jewels, or if you have a horse, because Changeover once went to the Supremacy Stakes final.
He won it.
He actually won it. So, but no North Island horse is going to travel that far because there's not the Jewels coming up in the next 4 weeks. They're going to be based in the
North local Island. That was outstanding there at the weekend, a horse called Duke of Wellington.
He's an American Ideal horse.
He's got a motor. Yep. This is him beating Hale Christian, who's gone round in all of our good races.
He's been under offer to clients of the Mick Stanley stable in Australia, and they actually texted me and said, "What do you make him?" I looked at the videos and said, "Wow, he's a really good 4-year-old." They said, "Hold on, he's 3." I was like, "You're kidding." I actually misread the race book. Oh yeah, he's a real deal. They'll have some fun with him if they purchase him. They'll have some fun too if he stays here. Is that Lauren Pearson's colours?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a nice horse.
Yeah, he looks a fair type, doesn't he? So good luck to them down there on Sunday because it always is a very good day. Oh, the best bets are back.
Yeah, I really like one this week. In the last race at Alexandra Park, Star of Montana, unplaced last week, but it was a race at Cambridge where he got too far back in a small field and he just couldn't win it. He's better drawn of the winning chances this week, and I think he's a pretty fair 2-year-old. By the way, that non-tote race at Cambridge last week, won by Brent Mangos, who's having a really nice run with his 2-year-olds, trotters and paces.
Yeah, he is. DeBarber for me in the Southland Oaks. Yes, it's got the second row draw, but I think she'll be winning. What's the one race you're most looking forward to at Alexandra Park on Friday night?
The Messenger. The Road Cup's a great race, but the Messenger's the race where the winner goes on to be either an Auckland Cup or a New Zealand Cup winner. In the last 15 years, I think 13 of them have gone on to win a New Zealand Cup or an Auckland Cup. And at the moment, particularly with the, not concerns, but the uncertainty over Lazarus, next season's open class season could be very open, excuse the pun, and this could be one of the lead-up races to that. With the Lazarus thing, they're expecting a decision this week on whether he is sold to one of the 2 offers made for him. It's very much up in the air, and as I said, we'll stay out of the commercial side of that, but I think everybody hopes he stays here and has a crack at a 3rd Cup.
Michael, before we go, congratulations. A stakes winning owner you are.
Yeah, that
Rivera.
was pretty funny the other day at Pukekohe. It was a nice moment for the gallopers, of course, and yeah, but bit of a laugh. But look, by the way, those people who gave us feedback, we had a lot of emails about the show last week. We do appreciate it. We couldn't get into it because there were so many of them, but please keep giving us your feedback if there's something in harness racing that irks you or something you would like us to ask people about. We'll do our best to try and find that out for you.
That's been your box seat this week. Hope you enjoy your harness racing week ahead. We've got a lot to wrap up in 7 days' time. Evening.